All right, let's talk about unlocking the secret to taking way better notes. And I'll give you a little hint right now. It has nothing to do with writing faster or having perfect handwriting. Nope, it's something way more fundamental than that.
Okay, so you know that feeling, right? You've spent a whole lecture, a whole meeting, just scribbling away like mad, only to look at your notes later and realize they're a total mess, just a jumble of words that makes zero sense. It's so frustrating. But here's the thing, and this is the good news. It's not you. The problem isn't that you're not putting in the effort. The real issue? You might just be using the wrong system for the task at hand. And that brings us to this really common trap I see all the time. I call it the one-method myth. It's this idea that there's some kind of magical, one-size-fits-all note-taking system that's perfect for everything. So, here's the absolute key takeaway. There is no single best way to take notes. It just doesn't exist. See, different kinds of learning need different kinds of systems. Trying to use one method for everything, that's kind of like trying to build a whole house with only a hammer. I mean, you can try, but it's just not going to work well, right?
So, what do we do about it? Well, the solution is to start thinking like a carpenter or a mechanic, someone with a big toolbox. It's all about reaching in and picking the right tool for the specific job you're facing. And there's a name for this: strategy matching. It sounds fancy, but it's actually super simple. It's just the practice of pausing, looking at the kind of information you need to learn, and then deliberately choosing the note-taking system that was literally designed for that type of info.
Okay, so let's pop open this toolkit, shall we? We're going to look at 6 really powerful methods, and you'll see how each one is perfect for a different kind of learning challenge.
All right, first up is a real classic. You've probably heard of this one, the Cornell Notes system. And hey, it's been around for decades for a very good reason. It works.
So the Cornell method is absolutely perfect for structured learning situations. Think a college lecture or when you're reading a dense textbook. The whole point is how it divides your page up into sections, one for your main notes, another for key questions or cues, and a space at the bottom for a summary. This structure kind of forces you to think about the information as you're writing it down. So like in history class, you jot down dates and events in the main section, but in the side column, you'd write questions like, so what was the biggest consequence of this? It completely changes the game from just passively listening to actively engaging with the material.
Okay, next tool in the box is another one you probably know well, the good old outline method. Now, a lot of people use this for everything, but it really shines in specific scenarios. This method is your absolute best friend when the information you're getting is already super organized. You know, when a professor or a speaker is giving you clear main points and subpoints. The outline is perfect for capturing that hierarchy. It lets you see at a glance what the big ideas are and what the supporting details are. That's so crucial when you're studying later, trying to figure out what's a core concept versus just a minor example.
All right, now we're going to shift gears. Let's move away from those linear top-to-bottom notes and talk about something way more creative and visual: mind mapping.
Mind mapping is just fantastic for when you're not just trying to write down a list of facts, but when you need to understand the connections between ideas. It's awesome for brainstorming or for wrapping your head around really complex topics. Think about it. If you're trying to understand the themes in a novel, a simple list is pretty flat, right? But a mind map can let you visually draw lines from a character's action to like 3 different themes at once. You start seeing connections you would have totally missed otherwise.
Okay, this next tool is a specialist. It's built for one very specific but very common task. It's the charting method. Look, anytime you need to compare and contrast 2 or more things, I'm talking different scientific theories, competing business strategies, whatever, this is the method, period. You set up columns, you put the information side by side, and boom. The patterns, the differences, they just jump right at you. You're basically structuring the info so your brain doesn't have to work so hard to make the comparison. And now for a method that is all about telling a story, specifically a story in chronological order. We're talking about the timeline method.
This one is absolutely essential for any subject where the sequence of events is the most important thing. You know, obviously for history, but also for understanding a multi-step scientific process or even just tracking the phases of a project. Timelines are so powerful because they don't just show you what happened, they show you when it happened. That lets you really see the chain of events, that domino effect of cause and effect.
Okay, for our last tool, we're going to look at something that's maybe the most personal and free-form of them all: flow notes. You should think of flow notes as note-taking for you. This isn't about perfectly capturing what somebody else is saying. Not at all. It's about capturing your own thoughts, your own ideas, your questions, and all the connections your brain is making as you're learning.
It's going to look messy. You'll have arrows, little drawings, weird abbreviations, because it's a map of your brain at work. Here's the difference. Most notes are like taking a photograph of a landscape. Flow notes are like the messy journal you keep while you're actually hiking through it.
Okay, so now you've got the tools. The toolkit is open. But the big question is, how do you know which one to pull out for which job? Let's get practical and walk through exactly how to do that.
It's actually a really simple 3-step process. Seriously, that's it. Step 1, just pick a class or a subject you're working on. Step 2, take a second to identify the type of learning. Is it a structured lecture? Are you mostly comparing different ideas? Is it all about a sequence of events? And then, step 3, just choose the method from your new toolkit that's the best fit. That's it.
So let's do a quick check-in right now. Think about your own habits and be honest with yourself. Are you a one method for everything kind of person? Or do you already find yourself kind of adjusting your approach without even thinking about it? This little systems check is the very first step to being more strategic about it.
And this really brings us right back to the main point, the big idea behind all of this. It's this: when the system fits the task, understanding becomes easier. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's not about trying harder. It's about working smarter. It's about choosing the right tool for the job.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. As you think about your own work, your own studies, how could intentionally choosing the right note-taking method completely transform your understanding? I mean, what could you really accomplish if your notes started working for you instead of the other way around?